Hey, how's it going everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. Sorry again for the delay, as this is on Monday and typically we upload on Sundays, but I took the weekend for a birthday celebration as well as some time to work on my upcoming mod project. But here we are with some new mods that have come out during this week, and we have some really cool unique ones, as well as an update to a really big mod that came out not that long ago that has some really cool new features. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in with the first mod. And that mod is going to be SBMO Root Cellar by Sacred Baobab. This is going to convert the Root Cellar and Sanctuary into a full-on workshop with multiple floors. This is great for a compact player home, and it gives you a safe space in Sanctuary where settlers won't steal your items. Until recently, the Root Cellar has not offered much in the way of gameplay besides a few loot items and a great place to store starting weapons. But now it's converted to a full-on workshop where you can craft anything you need. This makes for a great little private area to get away from your settlers, or just a really cool unique player home if you're not really into the whole settlement thing. After all, if you're trying to be discreet, it makes a lot of sense to be hiding yourself underground as opposed to building a big city up above. Or maybe you just want to add even more to your Sanctuary settlement. This just adds another build space, which is pretty incredible. I'm always a fan of new settlement locations, so having one in an interior world space that's underground is really neat, and is definitely a cool addition if you want more places to build player homes. Really awesome mod, but one note before you download it: be sure that you don't have anything that alters the Root Cellar already, and also make sure to remove any items from containers in the Root Cellar if you were storing anything there, because downloading this mod will make changes to it. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next mod. Moving on to our next mod, we have a thrown explosive weapon, and that is Dynamite by Flarescale. This is going to add some new dynamite stick explosive weapons that can be thrown like any other grenade in Fallout 4. Now, this is absolutely a lore-friendly addition, as dynamite is referenced all the time and is actually a weapon featured in past Fallout games like Fallout New Vegas. This wonderful new explosive weapon actually does less damage than the standard frag grenade, however has a larger blast radius, which makes it good for clearing out larger groups of enemies, especially if you have higher levels of the Demolitions Expert perk. These dynamite sticks will be found in the level list, meaning that enemies will be throwing these things at you along with all of the other grenades. On top of that, you can also craft them at the chemistry station or buy them at vendors. This is a beautiful little mod that just adds more variety to the grenade equipment in the game, and a realistic one at that. And this thing is available for Xbox, so you can grab this if you're a PC user or Xbox user, which is always a huge plus. Moving on, we have a really cool weapon mod, and that is the Proton Axe by radbeetle. Now, we actually did a full deep dive on this not too long ago, but this is going to add the classic Proton Axe from Fallout New Vegas Old World Blues DLC into Fallout 4. We actually had a Proton Axe not that long ago, but this one has a really cool updated model that's a bit different from the classic one we were used to. I really like the unique take of this version of the Proton Axe. It has a really cool aesthetic, and it has some really cool customization options, including different damage bonuses as well as the color of the Proton Blade, which you can convert to just about any color you can think of, as well as rainbow. On top of that, there are 3 different versions of the Proton Axe. You have the regular 2-handed single-bladed Proton Axe, the 1-handed Electron Axe, and then the 2-handed double-sided Neutron Axe, which is the biggest, heaviest hitting of these weapons. As it typically goes with Fallout 4 modding, nostalgia tends to beat everything, so this is a really cool weapon to see. I always love to see weapons from older games, especially New Vegas, make their way into Fallout 4, and this is a really cool one. There's always room to improve in the melee side of things when it comes to modding, so having more melee weapons is always a great addition. But if you want to grab one of these, they are not added to the leveled list because they are pretty rare weapons. Instead, you're going to have to go find some unique versions out in the world. So go ahead and get to hunting to find yourself one of these beautiful axes. Up next, we have a new creature mod, and that is going to be the FallEvil Hunter Beta by Arrogans82. This adds the iconic hunter enemy from the Resident Evil series into Fallout 4. This creature does have leveled list integration, so it will be injected into the Deathclaw list, so anywhere that you could potentially find a Deathclaw, you may find one of these guys instead. But it's very fitting as they have very similar combat styles. This actually does use these Deathclaw animations, so it works perfectly. This creature does have full VATS compatibility, so if you are a VATS user, this does have perfect integration and all of the limbs function properly. This mod does feature dismemberment for the creature, but currently only decapitation. Hopefully there will be more to come in the future. There are also custom sounds for the creature, including death sounds, pain sounds, idle sounds, and even alerted sounds. There are actually 3 different versions of the hunter currently in this mod. The regular hunter, which will start spawning around level 15. You can find the emaciated hunter starting around level 35, which actually does lower damage, but is far more aggressive and has a hardened shell. And then there is the glowing hunter, which is the rarest version of the creature, spawning at level 50, and has all of the attributes of a glowing creature variant. Now, keeping in mind that this mod is currently in beta, there are some features that are subject to change. For example, there are future plans to add some new unique items, as right now, whenever you kill one of these, they only drop Deathclaw leveled list items. But again, for the future, there are intentions to add fully unique items for this creature. People always love new creature mods, and I am definitely one of them, and this is a great addition. Of all of the Resident Evil creatures that have been added to Fallout 4 thus far, I think this is definitely the most lore-friendly in terms of the aesthetic and visuals of this thing. I could definitely imagine these running around in the glowing sea. And then finally, we are moving on to our final mod, which is actually not a mod release, but instead a mod update. Mutant Menagerie has finally received an update that adds even more creatures. This was definitely a surprise, but a welcome one indeed. This update is going to bring 10 new creature types as well as some new loot into the Mutant Menagerie mod, bringing the total number of creature types added with this mod to 32. Meaning that the number of creatures added with Mutant Menagerie now outnumbers the number of creatures in the vanilla Fallout 4. Also included in this mod are a ton of bug fixes, but I know that you guys are here to see those new variants, so let's go ahead and check them out. For starters, we now have geese, which are pretty sweet. We already had ducks and chickens, so why not add another fowl into the game, being the wonderful geese. Given that these are waterfowl, they like to hang out near the water but have suffered some severe feather loss due to the extended exposure to radiation. We also now have loons, yet another waterfowl. Thanks to its exposure to radiation, it has also suffered some feather loss and also flight loss, so it'll just be running around near large bodies of water. Now we also have possums. These guys are mostly harmless despite their grotesque appearance, which now sports additional heads. They also have some additional tails, which are considered to be lucky among the Commonwealth, and consuming one could even bring you some good fortune. Up next we have the radhorners, which are essentially the billy goat of the Commonwealth. Like their cousins, the bighorners of the southwest of America, they have some drastic mutations which have led to a very charred body that almost make them resemble feral ghouls. Moving down the list of non-hostiles, we have the most terrifying, the screech owl. These guys have suffered some extreme feather loss due to the atomic annihilation, and have been reduced to flightless wanderers. No longer do these guys fly through the night, instead now they walk around the ground with a terrible screech. Next we have what is by far my favorite addition with this mod, and that is the wasteland iguana. Iguana is something that has been present in the Fallout series for a very long time as a food source, but now you can find where that food source is actually coming from. That is, when the Cellar is being credible about their meat source. And hey, with the addition of dolphins and sharks with this mod, we now have ghoul whales. That's right, whales have made their way into the Commonwealth as these gigantic lumbering beasts can roam around the ocean and take on a mighty terrifying new aesthetic. As we move down this list, we do have some new hostile creatures, including the gargoyles. Gargoyles, also sometimes known as radbats, are a rare mutant species from the glowing sea. These guys are cousins to the much larger, more dangerous scorch beasts of Appalachia. While the scorch beasts were further exploited by the nefarious faction known as the Enclave, gargoyles instead owe their form entirely to the heavy radioactivity of the glowing sea. Though they may be smaller than their scorch beast counterparts, these guys are definitely not something to be messed with. Now, what creature mod is complete without a good spider? Introducing the radrachnids, we have some new spiders added via this mod into the wasteland. Now you can still use this alongside the rad spiders mod, as these guys use a completely different model which help to differentiate and add some variety to the Commonwealth. These guys will put up quite a fight, but it is worth it as a lot of their loot can be very valuable. And then finally we have one new creature, and that is the river lurk. River lurks are a mutated bipedal catfish that will stalk the lakes and rivers of post-war America. So be careful when perusing any body of water, as these guys may soon add you to their diet. Stay extra careful because where you find one, you may find more, as these guys tend to hunt in packs, making for a mighty fatal foe. And with that, I think we wrap up Mods Weekly. Definitely some really cool mods to come out, and a beautiful update to Mutant Menagerie. I know we spent a good bit of time on it, but these are some really cool creatures, and I wanted to make sure they got a proper spotlight. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to try any of these mods for yourself, they will be linked down in the description below, along with Xbox links when they are available. As always, if you try these mods out and you enjoy them, don't forget to endorse them and show your appreciation for all of the mod authors' hard work. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a rating, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace! And really quick, I'd like to make a shout out to all of our patrons. Your donations are greatly appreciated and really help to support the channel and videos just like this one. So again, thank you.